Nico Harrison would be making a horrible mistake if this trade goes through. The Dallas Mavericks are looking for a point guard. Not only do the fans think this, but the Dallas Mavericks themselves have come out and said that yes, we are looking to add help to the point guard position until Kyrie Irving returns. And on this channel, we've talked about several point guards that would be potential fits for the Dallas Mavericks, whether through free agent signing or a possible trade over the summer. But the other day, we finally found out who it is that the Mavs are targeting this summer, those being Jrue Holiday, Chris Paul, and Lonzo Ball. But Jrue Holiday is a player that may not fit exactly what we need, which makes everything a little bit more confusing as to why the Mavs would be looking at Jrue Holiday as a potential trade target. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Jrue Holiday. How well has he been playing for the Celtics? What would it take to trade for Jrue Holiday? And whether or not this is a good trade to begin with. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with today's video, we're currently sitting at 20,907 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 22K. I know we can do it. So if you want to be up to date on everything Mavericks related, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. But the Dallas Mavericks are in need of a point guard. You know it, I know it, and they know it. And the first report of the Dallas Mavericks looking for a point guard came out the same night of the lottery when we found out that we would have the #1 overall pick and that Cooper Flag would be our target. The Post said the Dallas Mavericks will be pursuing a point guard this offseason. Who are some realistic options you'd like to see? And on this channel, we've talked about several players. I know Kobe White was one of them. We talked about Tyus Jones. We talked about Lonzo Ball. Some players are more realistic than others, but overall, the Dallas Mavericks, they need help at the guard position. And I can already see the comment section now. We got Brandon Williams. We're going to get to Brandon Williams. I understand a lot of people think that Brandon Williams is enough. I do like Brandon Williams. I know that he'll be great here. But the key is to make sure you have just the right personnel that can hold it down till Kyrie Irving returns. Not saying Brandon Williams can't do it, but it wouldn't hurt to add a little bit more depth to that position since we are a little bit heavy in the front court. If we take a look here, it was announced the other day by Mark Stein, who said that Dallas is going to at least explore whether or not it could acquire Jrue Holiday. A more reasonable target that Dallas has maintained interest in is Lonzo Ball. Another name to monitor for the Mavs is Chris Paul. And so we're going to talk about Jrue Holiday and whether or not that's really a good fit. There's a lot of pluses as well as minuses to each of these candidates. But when it comes to Jrue Holiday, he is one of the league's premier guards, at least in his prime, was one of the best defensive guards in the NBA. I mean, just last season, the finals, we saw firsthand just how good Jrue Holiday really is, out-rebounding some of our bigs in that finals series. But this season, things took a little bit of a turn. He is another year older, and he is about to be on the second year of a brand new contract. But let's take a look at Jrue Holiday last season. For last season, he averaged 11.1 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 0.4 blocks, 1.1 steals, 1.2 turnovers, and 1.6 fouls per game, while shooting 44% from the field and 35% from three. The shooting isn't too bad. Jrue Holiday is a veteran in the NBA. He's 34, about to be 35 soon, and these stats aren't that bad for a player that you want to help you in that starting point guard position, who can then fall back to the backup position. 11 points, 4 rebounds, and assists. That's not bad. What's wrong with Jrue Holiday? Well, he is 34, about to be 35, so he is getting another year older. And the Dallas Mavericks, in this weird two timelines that we're in, where we want to compete now, but also try to build for the future, Jrue Holiday would only really help us right now, as he's on a pretty hefty contract that does increase over the course of the contract. So that could definitely hurt us in free agency if we're trying to sign somebody or go after somebody. Getting someone like Jrue Holiday on the books, let alone what it would cost to trade for Jrue Holiday. The Boston Celtics are out without Jason Tatum for the majority of next season. Jaylen Brown had an injury. Kristaps Porzingis got sick, I guess. They don't know which direction they're really going to go with that team. And if Jrue Holiday is a player that is up for grabs, yes, the Dallas Mavericks could definitely benefit from someone like Jrue Holiday, someone who could hold it down as a starting point guard, who does still play good defense. But he's getting older. He's more expensive. That hurts a lot of players trying to get more money. We've talked about on this channel how Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington are up for extensions. And if you do trade for someone like Jrue Holiday, and let's say you don't get rid of PJ or Gafford now, you may have to get rid of them next year, as they are owed extensions. They're younger. They're part of the long-term plan, not the short-term plan. There's a lot of positives and negatives when it comes to Jrue Holiday, and to me personally, I think the negatives just outweigh the positives a little bit too much. But if we take a look right here, I need you to know that Jrue Holiday is not likely to be worth his contract. He turns 35 in 18 days. Giving up 0 layers and assets for him on that contract is a bad idea. If we take a look at his contract, he just finished the first year of a 4-year, $134 million contract, and I do not think it'd be wise for the Mavericks to go out and trade for someone who is essentially going to be a backup point guard making $134 million over 4 years. Next year, he's owed $32.4 million, then $34.8 million, and the final year, about $37.2 million. Jrue Holiday is a good player. He's a 2-time NBA champion. He's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's been an All-Star. He'd be great for the Mavericks, just not on that price tag. If there was ever a way that we could get Jrue Holiday and somehow renegotiate his contract, sure, go ahead. But this is reality. This is the NBA. That's not how things work, and that money is the problem. Let's not forget, we still don't know what Kyrie's going to do this summer with his own contract. He has a player option. Will he opt into his player option, or will he decline his player option and we sign him on another deal, whether it's a more team-friendly deal or a little bit of a bump off of what he just got in his last contract? We don't know which direction we're going with Kyrie. We obviously still have Dante Exum and Spencer Dinwiddie, who are not on contracts. They are unrestricted free agents. We could easily get one of them back. But to get Jrue Holiday, that much money, $34 million to play backup once when Kyrie comes back, he's getting older. He didn't look too great this year. If we take a look at Jrue Holiday's stats, he was on the decline. Yes, his last year in Milwaukee, 19 points. He had about 7 assists. He was amazing. 5 rebounds, great. Last year with the Boston Celtics, yeah, he won. He looked great as well. This year, things kind of fell apart. The averages went down. His role kind of shrunk. The minutes got chopped down by a few. The only real redeeming quality about a player like Jrue Holiday, if we were able to go out and get someone like Jrue Holiday, is that he is reliable. He played 62 games this season, 69 last season, 67. So as far as injuries go, as that's something that the Dallas Mavericks are constantly dealing with, yeah, Jrue Holiday, he's mostly available, at least for about 3/4 of the season at the very least. He can be dependable. He'll be there for you. But the Dallas Mavericks don't need to go out and get a player like Jrue Holiday. If I could get someone like him but cheaper, totally fine. I'm all for it. But this Jrue Holiday that we currently have in front of us is not the answer for the Dallas Mavericks. They do not need to get a player making over $100 million to hold it down at the starting point guard position for not even half the season and then just go as a backup point guard, which could hamper Brandon Williams' development. We still need him to grow and become a pretty good point guard for the future. And you don't want Jrue Holiday hogging all the minutes, causing Brandon Williams to collect DNPs or just 10 to 15 every now and then. You want to make sure you have a player who fits the money, because we have a money issue. They fit the books, they can fit the role, and they could be here for the long term, not just a quick little rental. There's a few other players that have been mentioned by the Mavericks that I think fit better, but what trade would have to happen for the Mavericks to get Jrue Holiday? It's not going to be pretty, and this one I got off of Twitter. Someone had tweeted this out, saying that we would have to trade away Klay Thompson and PJ Washington and Omax to get Jrue Holiday in the 2025 first-round pick. Not sure why the Celtics would give us a first-round pick if they're giving away Jrue Holiday. And yeah, you get Omax. He's a young guy. Hopefully he can develop. You're getting PJ, which PJ's name keeps getting tossed around in trades. And then you get Klay Thompson. Not sure if that's something that the Celtics would really want. That does feel like we're giving up a little bit too much, and then you're still stuck with Jrue Holiday's contract. Him having to take up that much cap space hurts re-signing other players if this trade went through. How do we re-sign Gafford? How do we re-sign Derrick Lively in a few years? How long do they expect us to live in the second apron? And in my opinion, the number one goal should be trying to get out of the second apron. Just go back in the first apron. Try to find a cheap option. I do believe that we will find a cheaper option, but $134 million for Jrue Holiday? Not in 2025. This is not the year for that. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think it's worth going out and getting Jrue Holiday? Do you like that trade package of Omax, PJ, and Klay Thompson? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We'd have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for making this far to the video. Make sure you check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below, as well as our Spotify. Make sure you check out our Spotify. But till next time, take care, drink water, peace.